Alright, hey everybody. So in this video I want to talk a little bit about a Tom Hanks movie that he starred in 2011, and of course his connections to him and his wife on their announcement of having coronavirus. But before getting there, I do want to just cover the definition of corona. In anatomy, corona means a part of the body resembling or likened to a crown. So corona means crown, which should kind of remind people of Seattle, Washington, because Seattle was the first city that, had the first case of coronavirus in America, and Seattle is in King County. So, kings wear crowns. So just with those two things alone should, raise some, eyebrows or whatever you want to say. But one thing that stands out to me too is whenever you write out the first coronavirus case in America, it equals 206, and Seattle's area code, if you're not aware, is 206. So seeing the first coronavirus case in America, 206, area code 206 in Seattle. And so that brings me to the movie Larry Crowne, which, so that Crowne stands out because corona equals crown, and Tom Hanks played in this movie back in 2011, and it was released on July 1st, 2011, and the plot of the story is he gets let go from his job because he lacked the education background. He never went to college because straight out of high school he joined the military or the Navy, and that's what he spent most of his early years doing, and then later got a job at what is kind of like a Walmart, but in the movie it's called a U-Mart. And from that, so he gets let go, and then that makes him want to take steps towards going to college for the first time. And so he goes to college. He runs into this new or younger group of people, of course, and in that group, one of the ladies he hangs out with gives him the nickname Lance Corona. So just to see that the word corona is also in this movie, and obviously because crown means corona, but still here we have Tom Hanks with this nickname, and today he has coronavirus. And also he played in the movies Sleepless in Seattle, so he has that Seattle connection as well. And in this movie he takes two classes. One of them is a speech class, and that's taught by Julia Roberts' character, and then the other is an economics class, which is taught by what's his name, George Taki, I'm not sure how to say his real name, but he's an Asian man. And that stands out because, of course, this whole virus supposedly came from, China. But I think, and so economics stands out because of the event 201 that took place, and how the World Economic Forum was there with Bill and Melinda Gates and the Johns Hopkins University. So knowing that he took an economics class, and he did really well in both classes in this movie. And it's funny because he was actually asked a question by the professor in his economics class, and Larry Crowne gets it correct, and the professor is like, "Oh, you must have read the book or the chapter that was on page 56." And so hearing that made me laugh because coronavirus equals 56, and also knowing that he took a speech class, speech equals 56. And again, I'll just show how coronavirus has the 56. So just hearing those comments throughout the movie was pretty funny. But I happen to have the movie, and so I put it in the DVD player yesterday just to check out a few scenes. And it's a bummer because my DVD player isn't the type that, shows the hours and minutes that you're into it. And so if I had that, I wish some of these scenes could have happened at a particular time we might want to know. But in regards of it being released on July 1st, I wanted to point out that when you read out July 1st, 2011, it equals 113. A lot like the date that Tom Hanks and his wife came out and said that they had coronavirus. Here he is in his tweet, and he announced that they were tested for coronavirus and were found to be positive. So March 11th, majority of the world writes that date like 11/3. They put the month before the day. So 113 looks a lot like that day of announcement. And then also, when you run March 11th, 2020 to the anniversary date of this movie's release date, July 1st, 2020, it's also 113 days from that day. And then March 11th this year was on the 71st day of the year, and that stands out because, it's a leap year, and 71 is the prime number of 20, and here we are in 2020. Also, October 18th, that was the date of the event 201 in 2019. And when you run that date all the way to the date that this was announced, that Tom Hanks and his wife had coronavirus, it's 145 days later. And Larry Crowne equals 145. And another thing to point out about this movie, here's the cast here, but then his wife was also in this movie right here, Rita Wilson, which was only for maybe a couple of scenes because she played a banker. But just to point out that she's here in this movie along with him. And how his son or their son did the announcement of their update on health and everything. Chet Hanks, he also had a really small part in the movie as the pizza delivery boy. And so just seeing that the three of them played in this movie called Larry Crowne, stands out to me, and I think probably to many people. And here's just a couple of clips I took of, here he was at his job. Obviously, he probably has that Crowne mug because that's his last name, but throughout the movie you see several scenes with a crown in the background if you pay attention, or at least a few scenes. And Tom Hanks rides on a scooter in one scene. Julia Roberts sits on the back of it, and she made a comment how she didn't want to wear the helmet, so that's why she's making this face. But I didn't really know why there would be an Italy flag in this movie, because they don't think they even talk about Italy at all. And so I found that kind of interesting, just because, like Zach says, all roads lead to Rome, and everything about Rome and gematria. And of course, I just wanted to throw in this Instagram that Tom Hanks did recently with the Corona typewriter in the background of this picture. It's just he mocks you in two ways here. So, just the point that this is, he doesn't have coronavirus. I can guarantee that, him and his wife, because here, they're in Australia, whenever they get this tested for coronavirus and they get tested positive. And then here he just so happened to be traveling with his Corona typewriter, so he says. And notice it says L.C. Smith and Corona Typewriters, which is a really old company from the 1800s. But LC just automatically made me think Larry Crowne or Lance Corona, maybe nothing, but still. And so just having that with him to begin with, that's one mockery I was going to point out. But then, of course, he states in here how him and his wife are playing gin rummy, and he's losing by 201 points. It's not 200 points, it's specifically 201, like event 201. And if none of you guys are familiar, if you just happen to stumble on my page, you should definitely check out or Google or YouTube it. Actually, you can watch event 201 footage of this hypothetical exercise that was put on before the coronavirus even happened, and they're basically telling you or talking about a coronavirus outbreak and what would happen and result in all of that if something like that were to happen today, and just the similarities of it, the videos and what's going on today. It just makes you feel like they just think we're all stupid, and just to think that that's a coincidence, that even was put out before everything that's gone down, and that was basically all. There is one scene too that I wish I knew the time stamp through the movie, like when it happened, because it was this character, Steve DeBossi. I don't know, his character, he was also a student in Julia Roberts' class, and Larry Crowne was tardy, or no, he didn't show up to class, and Julia Roberts asked, "Where's Larry Crowne? Has anyone seen Larry?" And he turns around and goes, "Maybe he got the flu." And that was basically the whole part of that one little scene. So, I mean, just to see, like, how a lot of these little, sayings or things that happen in the movie just tie in with coronavirus. And last thing I guess I'll point out that I noticed was how this flatten the curve has kind of become a thing with people, like, I guess just their way of saying let's stop the coronavirus or whatnot. Flatten the curve, it equals 63. And what I'm getting with that is Rita Wilson is 63 years old, and also she was born in 1956. But then also Tom Hanks is 63 years old as well. So maybe just a coincidence, but just seeing how that's playing, I wonder how these numbers will play with the people to come that announce their coronavirus, or supposedly having coronavirus. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this to attention if people haven't seen that movie, or maybe they want to check it out now. So, but yeah, I'll just leave it there. We'll see ya.